Hey y'all, I'm coming to y'all with another Saturday morning make. I have the sweetest little angel project to share with y'all tonight. But first I want to say thank you to everyone who's watched any of the videos that I've posted and all the sweet comments. I try to reply back to everyone, and it's been so much fun to know there's so many people out there that share the love of paper crafting. So I cannot wait to share this with y'all. These are the project that I made, the little ornament tags, and there's some sweet vintage, very retro looking angels. Show y'all each one. Y'all know I like to color each one a little different. You can see all her little sparkles and shimmers. So that's what we're going to be making tonight. Just going to push those over. And I cannot wait to show y'all this old vintage red rubber stamp. So put this here. This is the stamp that I used to make this. It's an old embossing art stamp. Let's see, from 1998. It's a fairly large stamp. I think it was originally designed to be a candle wrap, something you would put around like a taper candle. I don't know that for a fact. I've always loved her. And so I've always just used her. I cut the tab portions away and I used her as a flat angel. But I think she was actually meant to fold around. But that is the stamp that we used. I want to show you what she looks like stamped. Let's see where she is. So I'm going to show you what she looks like stamped in black. This is my little test piece before I cut her out. So this is what she looks like stamped. And then this is what she looks like, the portion that I used after I fussy cut her out. So I cut the wings away and the tab away. And I want to show you the portion that I used. So this is what I cut away. I cut her wings, I trim her wings around her hands on both sides. And then I followed the little pleat edge down on each side to get her dress. And I just trimmed this part off of both sides. So that's the stamp. And these are her wings for each side. Now, I do not want the lines on my wings to show. So after I fussy cut them out, I just flipped them over and traded sides. So I would not have any of the lines showing. So that's the portion of the stamp we're going to be using. And y'all can see why. She's so sweet. Look at her face. She's just the sweetest little stamp. So for her, I decided to watercolor. If any of y'all are familiar with watercolor paper, there's usually a little bit less textured side and a side that's a little more texture. I did her on the little bit smoother side, not quite as much texture. And it's only because I like how that kind of gave her a little bit more gossamery look. So I have a little watercolor palette and I have some Tombow watercolor markers. And you just pick your color that you want to use. Put a pretty good amount of little ink on it. And I have a cup of water and a brush that I use for my watercolors. And since I'm doing a large area, I like to get quite a nice little quantity of water going. And you just watercolor her. You watercolor her dress. And full disclosure, I am not the best watercolor person. I enjoy watercoloring, but I am not great at shadows and highlights. But for something like this, it doesn't require a lot of that. But you can see you just watercolor her with whatever color you pick. So that's the start of the watercolor. Now for her hair. So for the watercolor on her, the only parts I watercolored were her gown and her face. Her hair, I did use a Copic on. I do love how Copics color for hair. They have a very smooth, almost transparent look for hair. But to me, Copics are something I love for hair when I color. So I did use a Copic for her hair. So that's the main parts of her. Now for the gold. Let me move my cup of water out of the way. For the gold, to give it the shimmery look of her halo, I used some glitter glue by Pops. And it's a very dense glitter glue. You can see all the sparkles in it. And it is perfect for giving that very sparkly, shimmery, transparent look for halos. So that's what I used for her halo. So that's the main part of her. Now, for this piece, for her little cross piece on this sash, I did use a gold paint pen because I did want it to be, you know, a very shiny gold. So I did use a gold paint pen for just the little crisscross of the sash. And for her collar, I used, let me grab this. I used one of the white gel pens. Even though it's on the white paper, if you will go ahead and do your gel pen over top of it, it does come out a bright white, and you can tell a difference. So that's her gown and her halo. Now for the wings. As I said, after I cut them out, because I didn't want the lines to show, I just swapped sides. So this is the piece that I use for the background, and it is a Sizzix set of scallops. Let's see, it is a Sizzix Framelits 657566, and I used the next to the largest size. So for each one, I cut a craft stock piece and a piece out of the old hymnal paper of music notes and glued it. Then, before you put your angel on, move the watercolor palette. I did take a little bit of Distress Ink tea dye and a blending brush. I got some on, and just kind of go around your background. It'll kind of age it up a little, gives it a little more dimension and texture. And you can go as heavy or as light as you want on this. That is up to you. There's no right way or wrong way or amount. And then I went all the way around with the tea dye to age it. So you'll put her there, and you'll put glue all over the back of her. And before your glue sets up, take your wings and just slide them behind her. Because you don't want this portion of her wing glued. You just want the portion that's right behind her in that glue. Because then you're going to want to just bend it up just a little to give her just a little bit of 3-dimension. So that's the reason you're just using the glue that's behind your angel. So let's use her. So after you do that, I used a little bit of Mod Podge, and I just used the matte finish, and I brushed a little bit onto the wings after I edged them in the tea dye. And after I put the Mod Podge on the wings, I used a little bit of Rock Candy Distress by Ranger glitter. Y'all know I love this glitter. It's just the best glitter for Christmas. And I didn't go all the way to the edge of the wings, just kind of pretending like I was filling in the center portion, and glittered her wings. Then I used a little bit of gold pipe cleaner, and I just cut a little strip the width of her gown, and I just glued it on with some Eileen's Tacky Glue to give her gown that look of being trimmed and add a little bit more sparkle. I punched a hole at the top, and I did use the Crocodile to put the eyelet in. You don't have to, but for this I did, since I had a gold one. I wanted it to match the angel at the bottom. I tied some twine through the hole, and I just used some fuzzy wool that to me looked very vintage and also looked angel-like with the gold threads in it. And I have a bag of die cuts that I got from Hobby Lobby. And they're not Christmas, but if you go through them, they have a lot of really sweet sayings that even though it's not specifically for Christmas, you can use them at Christmas. This one says, "Be joyful." I thought that was perfect for Christmas. This one says, "There is wonder in simplicity." And then this one says, "Let your soul shine." And I just punched a little hole in each one of these and ran a circle hook through it and a little brass bell. Because I always think of every time a bell rings, an angel gets her wings. So I love to add bells to my angel projects. So those are the three. Now the only other stamp that was used was, y'all know I love this set by Spellbinders. Let's see, it is this set here. It is the mini Christmas greetings, and I used the one that is Cherish the Season. And I just put it on a clear block, and that set comes with a long rectangle die that will allow you to cut strips that are just the perfect size. So after you cut the strip, I inked it in the Vintage Photo and inked it off once so it wouldn't be quite so dark. And you stamp it, and you get Cherish the Season. Then you are going to want to take a little bit more of your tea dye and go across this to kind of age it. And you're going to glue it on top of her gown, just below her hands, almost as if she's holding it. Now, for dimension, I do want to show this. You don't want to glue the edges down of each side of the little banner. You want to make it look like it's resting on her gown. You don't want to pull it down. You can see I didn't glue those edges of each side, just glued the part in the very center. So for her face, I did watercolor her face, but for the teeny tiny details, y'all know I love these pens. You can get them at Joann's or Michael's, and I'm sure I'm mispronouncing it every time, but they're by a company called Stabilo, Stabilo. They're about $1.50 each, and they come in so many colors that y'all can see how teeny tiny that tip is. So I used that for the inside of her mouth on each one. That's it, y'all. This stamp is a very simple stamp. It does not have a lot of detail. I do love to color, but I don't like spending 4 hours on coloring one scene. And so she turns out so pretty to me with just a few little changes to take her from the original candle wrap to where you can just use her flat. And I have a few more to show you. Let's put her back up here. I did each one with a little bit different color hair. I'm gonna move this out of the way. And a little bit different color gown. And every one of their hair is colored in Copic markers. And that's what I wanted to show you. The Copic markers just make really pretty hair colors. You can get very soft pastel colors with these. Even this one has a little bit of a faint red tint to her. It's very pretty hair colors. And I did tea dye over the gowns a little bit just to age them up some. But the back of the ornament tag is very plain. But y'all, is she not the sweetest angel? Like, I just love her wings. I love altering the stamp just a little bit. And you can just see how pretty and shimmery she is. And still that very old retro Christmas look. And on these, some of these I didn't put the tags at the top, extra tags, because I wanted them simple. But I wanted to show you this little set too from Hobby Lobby that just has gorgeous little Christmas sentiments in it. So y'all, how fun are all of these? I had the most fun making these. I enjoy using all the pretty soft pastel colors. Now, one other thing you can do, if you watch the video I made a few days ago of the ski chalet, I shared that sometimes I take a white opaque ink pad and a blending brush, and I did soften her facial features and her gown just a little bit, but mostly her face, with a little bit of white ink and a blending brush. And you don't have to, but I just wanted to soften her a little bit, kind of give her that more aged look with the white. I didn't want the tea dye down there that I used down here up on her face, but I still wanted her to have that soft look. So y'all, this one I had so much fun with. I love using the old angel stamps and bringing those to life. And when I color them, I just always have the most fun with my imagination. So that's it, y'all. And this was the old vintage red rubber stamp that was used. So thank y'all for watching. I'll see y'all soon.